battle for 2020 is officially on as President Trump holds his first campaign rally in El Paso, Texas tonight. The president taking aim at Democrat Beto O'Rourke for holding a counter rally in the city as he makes his big push for border security.
We're going to El Paso. We have a line that is very long already. I mean, you see what's going on. And I understand our competitors got a line too, but it's a tiny little line. Of course, they'll make it sound like they had more people than we do. That's not going to happen. But we're going there for a reason. We're going there to keep our country safe.
This comes as the field of Democratic contenders gets even more crowded. Trump mocking Elizabeth Warren for the DNA debacle hanging over her campaign announcement. The president also poking fun at Senator Amy Klobuchar for announcing her candidacy in a snowstorm. Warren firing back against the president's ancestry attacks.
By the time we get to 2020, Donald Trump may not even be president. In fact, he may not even be a free person.
And Klobuchar addressing reports she can't find a campaign manager because she's difficult to work for.
I am tough. I push people. That is true. But my point is that I have high expectations for myself. I have high expectations for the people that work for me. And I have high expectations for this country.
And Kamala Harris also making some headlines today for this comment.
Have you ever smoked?
I have.
Okay. Like
and I inhale. I did inhale.
Okay.
It was a long time ago.
Was it a blunt or joint?
It was a joint.
Hey. So if it was legalized all throughout the country and medicinal, would you do it?
Listen, again? I think that it gives a lot of people joy, and we need more joy.
We need more joy in this world.
All right, Greg, we'll get to that in a second, but you and Amy Klobuchar have a lot in common. Very difficult to work for.
Exactly. I like her more and more the more I hear about her. She's got the funnest name to say. Klobuchar! You've got 24 hours, Klobuchar, to find the missing kid, or you're fired. Anyway, she's got like a 1970s cop show name. But I want to talk, can I just talk about, and also, it's not sexist to point out that she's got a bad temper. They did that with John McCain, and they did it with Bob Dole, and they do it with Trump, so it ain't sexist. In fact, it's sexist not to do it. Do you have tape of Liz with the kid?
Oh, yes. This is Elizabeth at one of her announcements this weekend.
Get over here, kid. So here's the problem with Liz Warren.
Grandma.
Yeah, here's the problem with Liz Warren. She's like a professional wrestler who overacts in each scene and then instructs you to believe in the sport no matter what. She is a politician who pretends to be a politician wherever she goes, and it's so fake. And especially in the era of Trump, where he rejected all of that, all of the trimmings of being a politician, and he didn't care. It exposes her folly even more as a world-class phony. She is a professional wrestler, and you see all the tricks. Let me grab this kid. And then saying, like, what did she just say? He won't be a free person.
Right.
Just say free man.
Okay.
Save a syllable.
Well, free person.
Klobuchar, and we also have Kamala Harris admitting to smoking weed. What do you think?
I think it makes her a total hypocrite. I think now, conveniently, she's one of those people who's hopped on board the cannabis caravan. But in reality, people in her state of California have suffered under some of her punitive actions as Attorney General. And she even cackled a few years ago when asked about legalization of cannabis in the great state of California. This is someone who has not supported legalization.
Oh, she locked up potheads in California?
Yeah, she has locked up a bunch of nonviolent offenders and has not lobbied for their release when she absolutely could have. She misused her power. She was horrible on civil rights. And right now, it's just a popularity grab. But who wouldn't cackle with affection at my friend Charlemagne? I thought he was adorable in that clip.
Yeah, Juan, now you have another reason to vote for Kamala. She smokes grass.
I think I think the whole state of California has a reason to vote for her. That's why I think they've legalized. I was telling you guys I was in San Francisco.
Not because of her, in spite of her.
No, I think it. Look, by the way, I don't think that was a fair thing that you said, Kennedy. Because guess what? People who may have
facts are
smoked dope
inconvenient. Facts, not feelings.
Hang on, please. Enforce the law. That was her job as an officer for the state of California. Her job was to enforce the law, not to make it up. And she did it. She enforced the laws.
She selectively enforced laws.
She didn't selectively. She said if you break the law with regard to selling or using it, I mean, that's the law. She enforced it. But I would say the people who go after her on charges of selective prosecution are way off on this. It's almost to me, and this comes from the left more than the right, the saying because you were a good prosecutor, you can't be a Democrat. How crazy is that?
Well, don't call yourself a progressive prosecutor if your record shows the complete opposite.
I just think she was a very good prosecutor, and I think. But anyway, I'll leave that up to you. But I will say I think the news today is about Trump and El Paso because our own brain room that you like to cite, Jesse, has said violent crime wasn't higher before the wall in El Paso, and it wasn't.
So glad you brought that up,
you go right
because
ahead.
I have the statistics
I
right
so,
here from
because
the brain room.
I wanted to bring this up because it is such a sham.
No, it's not. Here it is. Here are the facts, Juan.
Yes, you go right ahead.
All right. In 2009, when the wall was erected in El Paso, about 3,300 violent crimes reported. Last available year statistics were out, 2016, about 2,600 violent crimes reported. That's about a 20% drop in violent crime since the wall has been erected in El Paso.
Wrong.
Juan,
You're
I'm
wrong.
sorry. Not only are you disagreeing
wrong.
with me, you're disagreeing with the brain room.
This is why I mentioned it, because you had played this farcical game before, and so I went to the brain room, and they said from 6 to 11, 06 to 2011, violent crime went up 17%.
Why cherry picking, Juan?
I'm not cherry picking. This
Juan,
is with the
there was no wall in 2006.
No,
That's when the money was appropriated.
Right. So what?
So
we
why
have
stop
here,
it at 2011?
Okay, you can go all the way. You can go all the way from.
I went
from
all the way from when the
1985
wall went up until the last available year and crime went down. Morgan,
all you're doing
please
is shouting.
save Juan
All you're doing
from
is
his
shouting
ridiculous
because
false
you're wrong
statements.
and you're trying to fool the audience. But the clear fact is, Beto O'Rourke.
You're wrong, Ron.
No, the Beto O'Rourke, the sheriff in El Paso, the mayor in El Paso all say this town had a low crime rate before and after this phony wall.
I'll put the stats on my Twitter feed, and everybody can see the truth. Go ahead,
We're
Morgan.
definitely going to solve this argument today, so I'm so glad we're having it. But what's interesting to me is that we had more women announce over the weekend, and what we haven't had in a presidential race, so I think we have at least 5 so far that are running. What's happened both on the Democrat side and the Republican side is there's always been one woman on stage, and there's been all of these rules about, in the senatorial races and presidential races, about how do you approach the one woman on the stage, and now that we have 4 or 5 on the stage, it'll be interesting to see how the Democrats play that out, how they argue with each other. And so I actually think it's going to be a really interesting election to see the interaction, especially between the women. And can we just preempt this sort of like catfight narrative that People Magazine and Us Weekly and all these things will put out? These women are going to battle. They're going to be really tough because they're politicians and they want to be the president. And
Klobuchar is going to be really tough.
Can I just say one thing about Klobuchar?
Yes.
I was actually intrigued hearing that she's tough on her staff. I didn't
too.
take that as a negative at all. I think
You're known for being very tough.
Very tough.
Yes,
You
very
do
tough.
things, don't you?
Yeah.
I'm practically a dominatrix in the building.
Yes, exactly.
People pay me for my service.
Do you know, but the one thing that the one thing about this whole thing that is so beautiful and why this is going to be the best 2 years ever, not only do we have a field of Democrat candidates, we have ongoing director's commentary from Donald Trump. This has never happened before. Yeah. We're going to have a president who's going to do ongoing commentary about everybody, and his media presence is so huge that by comparison, they will seem so small. He'll be Darth Vader, there'll be Ewoks, he'll be Gladys Knight, there'll be the Pips.
But that's not the way it played out over the weekend. When he went after Klobuchar as Snowman, or he said Snow Woman, she shot back, oh yeah, I want to see you stand out in the rain with your hair. I think you dodged some
I don't know if she said that. I think somebody else did.
No, but she said it in response in her tweet that he's the one with the sensitive hair. But you know what I think? If he goes after those women, I think they fire back. And I don't think that he comes out of it.
I think that it's a joke to say that he goes after everybody. I think we learned that in 2016.
He went after John McCain pretty hard, didn't he?